a very negative path.
Yeah.
All three of them.
Yeah.
All three of them. Very sad.
Great.
Case 3115, Brockett versus Carrillo. All parties, please come forward.
Caregiver Cyan Brockett is suing her former client, Catherine Carrillo, for unpaid wages, verbal assaults, and lying to her employer.
Ms. Brockett, it's your claim that the defendant owes you money because she refuses to sign a time card for you. And your vocation is you are a home health aide paid by the state. How long have you had a home health aide?
Since 2018.
I believe that you indicated in your answer that you have MS?
Yes, I do.
How long have you had MS?
Since I was 42, I was diagnosed with it.
How old are you now?
65. A while.
Long time.
I walk to try to keep my strength and muscles going in my legs.
Good for you.
Yeah.
How long have you had the home health aide?
The service was provided to me by disability through Social Security, and that was since 2018.
And when did the plaintiff take you on as a client?
From February 23rd to March 24th, when I terminated her.
And which time cards of hers, because you have to sign a time card, correct?
I get an email that says a time sheet has been submitted by Cyan Brockett. So the first 2 weeks I approved, which I even did with hesitation because she wasn't doing the work that she was hired to do.
But you signed it?
It's electronic signature.
Okay. But you didn't fire her after 2 weeks?
Because she kept promising that she would make up the hours to me.
How many hours a day was she supposed to spend with you?
It was 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. And she would come and sit down on my sofa and she would start texting and receiving phone calls and talking. And then one time she said, oh, Access didn't pick up my mom, I gotta go. I'll make this up to you later. And she got up and left.
Okay, so that was, don't speak. So that was one time?
That was one time.
Okay.
And another time she was texting a lot. I go, there's work that needs to be done that you agreed to do, and we need to get it done. And she goes, oh, I'm having a birthday party for my niece. And she showed me a picture on her phone of a cake with the Chanel, the 2 C's on it. And she goes, I'm paying for this for my niece. I got a lot of planning to do for her party. So I have to go. And I said, but what about the work that needs to be done? She goes, well, I could always come on the weekend and do it. So she never did do the hours.
Okay, so that's 2 times out of 2 weeks, and that's Monday through Friday.
Yes.
Well, that's the first 2 weeks. What happened in the second 2 weeks?
Well, I had to go to the pharmacy, and I said I needed to pick up my medication. And then I went in the pharmacy to get my medication. She stayed in the car, and I went and got back in the car, and she came and dropped me off. She said she had to go to her next client. And I said, it hasn't even been 45 minutes. And she said, yeah, well, I'll be back tomorrow. And then she didn't come back the next day, and I was calling her, and she didn't even answer her phone.
Okay.
Giver Cyan Brockett claims her former client, Catherine Carrillo, owes for unpaid wages.
Now, what time is she due at your house?
She was supposed to be there at 9, from 9 to 2.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Are you telling me that you always got there at 9?
Yes, I am.
Every day that you were there?
Every day. Until March 24th, when she asked me to come at 9:30, which was a Friday.
Why did she say to come at 9:30?
Because her and her friends were going to walk at Apollo Park, and that she wanted to exercise and be with her friends. So instead of coming at 9, could I come at 9:30?
Do you remember that?
I remember that conversation and that particular instance, but I did not ask her to come at 9:30 because my friend would leave to go for her walk at Apollo Park with some other friends at 6 in the morning. So I was going to be back at 9. And I even told her I would be back at 9. And I was back before 9, and she never came at 9.
What time did she come?
At 9:30, I was still waiting for her. And then I got a call from her. I guess it was about 9:45. And she said that she came and she had been there and she waited over a half hour for me, and then she left. And I asked her, why did you leave when you're supposed to be with me 5 hours a day anyways? And I told her I was back, and she told me that I wasn't back, and I was.
Does she have access to your apartment?
No, she was waiting outside in her car, according to her.
Okay.
And I have text messages to prove it was not 9 o'clock, it was 9:30. And she didn't get back until 10.
Okay, if she got back at 10, how far do you live from her house?
I wasn't even at her house. I was at another client's house in the same senior living. And she knew that. So all she had to do was call me and I would have been at her house.
On March 24th, you say, Catherine texted me, your first name is Catherine,
Yes.
and said she was now at home. I told her it was not my job to wait around for her.
Right.
Well, it is your job if you want to get paid for that day.
I'm not asking to
Just
get
a
paid for
second. So
Yes,
you're not
right.
asking to get paid for that day.
No, I'm asking to get paid for the other days that I worked up until that day.
Okay. Well, the 24th, but you left on the 24th.
Yes.
So what days are you asking to get paid for?
March 16th to March 23rd.
Would you show me a calendar? How many days was that during the week?
The 16th of 2023 would have been a Thursday.
Thursday. So
So the 16th and
17.
So that's 2 days. The 20th would have been Monday, the 21st, Tuesday, 22nd, Wednesday, 23rd, Thursday, 6 days.
you were asking to get paid for 6 days,
Yes.
which you were actually present.
I was actually present and working.
Now, the first 2 weeks you've described to me 2 events that happened within the first 2 weeks. In the second 2 weeks that she worked for you, and we're really talking about 6 days only in the next 2 weeks, because that's all the days that she actually worked. Do you have specific days that she wasn't there?
She's saying she was there and she never did any of the work that she was hired to do.
Well, that's a different story. Then you should have
Okay.
fired her. But if she was there, she was there.
When she was there, she was talking on the phone and texting.
Well, that's okay. I mean,
That's a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she was at your house talking on the phone.
Yes.
Okay. Now, show me how much you were paid per hour.
At that time, we were paid $17.25 per hour. As of January 1st, we got a raise to
Well-
$18 an hour.
$17.25 is what you were earning at the time you worked for her.
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. Sarah Rose, you have your computer out?
Yeah.
We're going to do 1725 times 5. How much?
86.25. 86.25.
Times 6.
517.5.
517.50. Okay. Now, punitive damage for malicious lies to employers.
Yes. She called IHSS, the company that pays us, and said that the reason why she refused to sign my timesheet was because I left the country.
Okay.
I explained-
I'd like to see proof of that.
I don't have that proof.
Well, then you don't get paid for that.
She also verbally attacked me on May 19th.
Okay, so I'd like you to tell me what happened on May 19th.
On May 19th, she caught me outside in Gardens 2, which is in the back and not part of her section. And up until this time, I had never seen her back there. So she was stalking me and found me, and she called me a liar, a thief, and a fraud, and a bitch.
Okay.
And I could not do anything about it. And I was embarrassed because she did it in front of my employer.
Your Honor, that's a complete lie. I walk my dog, and I have a map here of the complex, and I was walking, I do the big circle
Just
first.
tell me what you said to her.
I didn't say nothing to her. She came out and she told me, I want my money. And I turned around and I said, get away from me. She goes, you're going to pay me. You're going to be sorry. I'm going to sue you. You're going to pay court costs. I'm going to make you pay for my attorney. I said, don't talk to me and get away from me. And I kept walking. I never stopped. I never stalked her.
Okay.
I also reported the incident to the office where she lives, and she has more than one incident.
I don't know that either.
That's not true.
Shh. I know that she has to give you $517.50 because whether you were useless working for her or not, your body was there. And if your body was there for 6 days, 5 hours a day, you're entitled to be paid. $517.50, judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Because I didn't kiss her butt.
That seems completely crazy considering she never did anything, you know.
I didn't do what she wanted. I didn't jump. I didn't wait outside my car in the freezing cold, risking my health.
And the demands of the job of an in-home support worker is to help with tasks around the house. And she never did any of them. So I don't know what was crazy about that.
Never work for her again.
I think that the defendant was really miraculous. She's had MS 42, 52, 60, almost 25 years.
Yeah.
She walks her dog. She walks around the big circle, little circle, and she really...
Just needs a few extra help with a few tasks
probably
around
a
the
little
house.
extra help with moving things, cleaning things around the house. That's it. Lucky that she lives in a country that has a good government.
Yeah.
You have an accident with it?
No, ma'am.
Lucas Shire
I received it like
is
that.
suing
There was
his
a lot broken
former
on it, though,
friend,
and I feel like I should
Garrett
at least
Baker,
get reimbursed
for
for
a
that.
motorcycle
care what you
deposit
feel.
and breach
This
of contract.
is Judy Justice.
Court, come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case 3135, Shire versus Baker.
Thank you. Mr. Shires, how long do you know Mr. Baker?
From now, I wouldn't be able to give you a time, but from when I bought the bike, probably about 4 months.
It is your claim that you purchased a bike, a motorbike or a
Lucas
dirt
Shires
bike.
Motorcycle.
is
From Mr.
suing his
Baker.
former friend,
You gave
Garrett
him,
Baker,
when you purchased
for
it,
a
a
motorcycle
$2,000 deposit.
and breach of
Yes, Your Honor.
contract.
And you were supposed to
Court,
make
come to
your
order.
first payment
All rise.
on
November.
November 1. Have a seat, please. Of 2023.
Case 3135, Shire
The
versus
total
Baker.
purchase price was how much? Mr. Shires, how long do you
$3,400.
know
Where
Mr.
did you get the
Baker?
From now, I wouldn't be able to give you a time, but from when I bought the bike, probably about 4 months. My
It is your
apartment
claim
was
that
burnt
you
down, so
purchased
I
a
had some
bike,
GoFundMe
a
money,
motorbike
and then
or a dirt
also I had
bike?
money from my new
From
job I
Mr.
just
Baker.
started since.
Okay, just you gave him
Sorry.
when you purchased
Go
it,
back.
a $2,000
Your apartment
deposit.
burned down.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you were supposed to make
Is it
your
yes?
first payment
Yes,
on
That's an apartment that you lived in
November
alone?
1
Yes,
of
ma'am.
2023.
It was a rental.
Yes, ma'am.
Where
The
did you
total
go
purchase
after your
price was how
apartment
much?
burned down?
I was living with my mom for a
Where
few
did you
weeks.
get the
And then?
$2,000 from?
And then I moved in with my friend. I have recently, my
So
apartment
you
was
went
burnt
back to
down,
live
so
with
I
your
had some
mother.
GoFundMe money, and then
It's
also
not
I
an
had money
answer.
from a new job I just started.
And when
since,
did you start this GoFundMe page? Let's go back.
I
Your
was not the one that
apartment
started
burned
it.
down. Who did?
My aunt.
What did she
Is it
start
yes?
it for?
Yes, ma'am. My insurance
That's an
ran out on the
apartment that you
2
lived
weeks
in
before.
alone?
I thought I had insurance, but I didn't.
There was a
So you
rental.
didn't have renter's insurance?
Where did you go after your
So it
apartment
was
burned
to
down?
I was living with my mom
Replace
for a few
the
weeks,
items
and
that you
then-
had lost
And then I moved in with my friend
in the
who lived in his
apartment.
house.
Okay. So
Any
you went back to
furniture,
live with your mother.
clothes, is that what it was for?
It's not an answer.
And how much
ma'am,
was
sorry.
raised on
And
the
when
GoFundMe
did you
page?
start this
A little under
GoFundMe
$3,000.
page? So
I
of
was
the
not the one that started it.
Who did?
My aunt.
What
Good
did she start
hearted,
it for?
good-natured
My
people
insurance ran out on
Gave
the apartment
you
2 weeks before.
to
I thought I
replace
had insurance,
the
but I
items
didn't.
that you
So
had
you
lost
didn't
and
have renter's
continued to
insurance?
live.
Not.
You bought a
So it
motorcycle.
was to
Not all of it. I would
replace
say
the items that you
I'd
had
probably-
lost, $2,000 of it in the
Two
thirds of it,
I-
and you put it
Any
down on a
furniture,
motorcycle.
The bank statement, I'm
clothes,
sorry I
is
didn't
that
say
what it
more.
was
In the
for?
bank statements I have,
And how
I
much
started
was
a
raised
job,
on the
and I bought the
GoFundMe
motorcycle
page?
like a couple months after. A little under $3,000.
So of the $3,000, first payment on the motorcycle was due November 1st,
So I have bank statements
2023.
from being paid for
You
my
did not
job,
make that
around
payment.
$1,400 I pulled
And the
out
defendant
for the
repossessed your bike.
So yeah, the remainder $500
But it wasn't your
cash
bike
would have
yet
been,
because
yes,
he
on the
retained the
GoFundMe.
title
And
until
then
it was fully
August.
paid.
First
You
payment
want
on
your
the
deposit
motorcycle
back.
was due November 1st,
And you had to buy the total
2023.
I think about 4
You did not
weeks
make
is
that
that
payment.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr.
And the
Shires, and it
defendant 4
repossessed
weeks
your
that
bike.
you had the
Yes.
bike.
Did
But
you
it wasn't
have
your
an
bike
accident
yet
with
because
it?
he retained
No,
the
ma'am.
title until
Did
it was
you
fully paid.
ever
You want your
tell
deposit
anyone
back.
that you had had, and you had the bike
some
some
sort
sort of an
I think about
accident
4
with the
weeks,
bike.
is
No,
that
ma'am.
right?
Yes,
Is it
ma'am.
your
Mr. Shires,
testimony
in the
that
4
when
weeks
Mr.
that you had
Baker
the bike,
repossessed
did you have an
the
accident
bike,
with it?
it was in the
No, ma'am.
same condition
Did you
as it
ever
was
tell
when you
anyone
got the
that
bike
you had had
4 weeks before? Some sort of
Yes,
an
ma'am. Except
accident
for,
with the
maybe
bike.
tires got worn down
Is
a
it
little
your
bit, but they were already
testimony
really
that when
bad
Mr. Baker
tires.
so the only
repossessed
damage
the
was
bike,
the tires? It was in the same
Yeah, but I
condition
received it like that.
as it was
Mr.
when you
Baker
got
says
the
he
bike. 4 weeks
repossessed it
because you
before.
were
Yes, ma'am.
late
Except
with your
for,
payments,
maybe
you went to
tires
get
got
it,
worn down a
and
little
you
bit,
gave
but they
him
were already really bad.
$50.
Well, may I say?
So the only damage was the
he said I
tires.
could be late.
Yeah,
I
but
called
I
on the
received
first
it like
when I was in
that.
Kentucky.
Mr.
What were you
Baker
doing
says
in
he
Kentucky?
I was
repossessed it because
visiting
you were
family.
late with
My
your
aunt-
payments. He
it
went
was
to
just a
get
family
it,
trip.
and
My
you
aunt
gave
and my
him
mom rented a
$50.
cabin.
Well,
And
may I
they wanted
say,
me to tag along.
he
and
said I
along.
could be
And I was
late.
just
I
visiting
called
my
on the
aunt
first
when I was in Kentucky.
And
What
what
were
were
you
you
doing
doing
in
in
Kentucky?
Kentucky? That you were going to be late?
He texted me on the first.
Why?
He said, yeah.
On
it
the
was just a
first,
family
where's
trip.
my money?
My aunt and my
He just
mom
said,
rented
yo,
a
so I
cabin.
called him
and
and
told
told
him
him
about where I
and
was.
tag
And
along.
I did say in the phone call, I did say that I would.
And you called him and told him
was
that you were
upset
gonna
and
be
wanted to
late?
pay
He texted me
today,
on the first.
I would have
He
my
said,
aunt
yeah.
send
On the
money
first, where's
digitally.
my money?
And I said,
He just said, yo,
it would
so I
work
called
best for
him
me if I paid
and
him
told him
cash
about
when I got
where I
back
was,
into town in
and
a few days. and
I did say in the phone
And
call,
what did he
did
say?
say that
said,
I
"Call me
would,
when you get back into
if
town."
he
And
was
that was all
upset
that
and
was
wanted
in
to be
that
paid
phone call.
today,
Okay, and when
I
did
would
you
have
get
my
back
aunt
into
send the money
town?
digitally. I got back into town
I said,
November 2nd,
but it would
November
work
3rd,
best
in
for
the
me
middle
if
of the
I
night.
paid him
Okay,
cash when I
and
got
what
back
happened
into
next?
town in a few
I
days
woke
and
up
worried about on 3rd
And what
around
did he
1
say?
p.m.
He
said, call me when you get back into town. I was in my pajamas. And that was all that was in the phone call.
Okay, and when did you get back into town?
I'd woken up, and as I woke up, I went to the living room, and I saw Garrett was in the driveway with his another motorcycle. 3rd around 1 p.m. He was walking up to the door. As I woke up, since I saw him, I went to the front door to answer. Garrett at all. I answered the door, and I'd woken up, and as I woke up, I went to the living room, and I saw Garrett was in the driveway with another motorcycle. And he asked me if I would like to go riding. Since I saw him, I went to the front door to where my motorcycle was. I answered the door, and I said it was a nice day.
Let's go very carefully and very slowly, Mr. Shires. You answered the door.
So I answered the door, and he asked me
what was it
if I
doing
would
at
like
your
to go
work?
riding. It was just sitting there. Because so what it is, my keys were on some keys that got totaled, and so they totaled this car, and the keys were stuck up in Columbus, and so I didn't go riding.
What was it doing at your work?
It was just sitting there. Because so what it is, my keys
go through that slowly again.
We're on some keys that got totaled, and so they totaled this car and moved
Lucas
the keys to
Shires
Columbus.
claims
so I
his
didn't
former
have to keep the
friend,
bike for
Garrett
like 2
Baker,
weeks,
owes for the cost of a motorcycle
so it was
after
Let's
he
go through that
wrongfully
slowly
repossessed
again.
it. Garrett is countersuing, claiming Lucas damaged the motorcycle. Lucas Shires
The key
claims
to the
his
motorcycle
former friend,
was on my
Garrett
car
Baker,
keys
owes for
that I
the
had at
cost of a
time,
motorcycle
and the car
after
got
he
totaled,
wrongfully
and
repossessed
so
it.
they moved the car to
Garrett is
Columbus since it
countersuing,
was totaled,
claiming Lucas
and
damaged
they
the
wanted
motorcycle.
they didn't, like asked
The
me if I wanted
key
to get
to
my
the
keys
motorcycle
off the totaled car keys. So they were stuck up at Columbus. I had time to go get them. The car got
Did you
totaled,
tell that to
and
Mr.
so
Baker?
They moved the car to Columbus.
That you didn't have
since it was
keys to
totaled.
it and the bike was sitting at your workplace?
They didn't like ask me if I wanted to get my keys in person and over text cars keys. So they were stuck up at
I'd like to
Columbus
see
for a
the
week
text.
until I could go get them.
Did you tell that to Mr. Baker?
Yes.
That you didn't have keys to it and the bike was sitting at your workplace?
Yes, I told them that in person and over text.
On what
after that
date, sir,
like to
did
see
you
the text.
repossess the bike?
November 3rd, ma'am.
Now, I would like to see the photographs that you say were damaged, because at this point, you owe him $2,000. On what date,
I don't think I
sir,
do.
did you
Well, I don't care what you
repossess the
think. What
bike?
you think
is
November
irrelevant.
3rd, ma'am.
I have no idea what these pictures are. I would like to see the photographs. There is no way I have any idea what these pictures are. At this point,
That's the
you owe
side
him
of the motorcycle, all
$2,000.
scratced up. I think I do.
I have no idea what this
I don't
is.
care
Can I
what you
see a
think.
picture? What you think is irrelevant? Did you take a picture? I have no
Yeah,
idea
those
what
were
those
the
pictures
pictures
are.
I took. I could show you
There
off
is
my
no
cell
way
phone.
I have any idea what
I
these
would like to
pictures
see the
are.
whole bike.
That's the
Do you have a
side of the
picture of the whole
motorcycle,
bike?
all scratched up.
I have no idea what this is. Can I see a picture? I'll see your picture. Did you take a picture on
Yeah,
your
those
whole
were
bike?
the pictures I took. I could show you off my cell phone.
That's what I want. I would like to see the whole bike. Do you have a picture of the whole
I
bike?
have a picture of a bike from when I had
Okay.
it. Not
Now, do you have a
damaged at
picture
all,
of the
but-
whole bike? I'll see your picture and I'll see his. This is the day you got it, or when?
They're spread. The middle photo is the day I got it. The bottom and top are within that
Okay.
month,
Now,
probably
do you
a
have
couple
a
weeks
picture
after.
of the whole bike,
I have
sir?
a video. I could
This
show
is
you
the
it's half
day
of
you
the
got
bike.
it. I'll take a look and see if there's a useless.
They're
I would
spread.
assume that you have
the
a
middle
picture of
photo
the
is
whole
the day I
bike to
got
show
it.
me
The
damage.
bottom and top are
I have no idea
within
what that
that
is.
month, probably a couple weeks after.
Okay.
I have a video. I could show you it's half of the bike.
I'll take a look and see if there's a useless. I would
also
assume
have
that you have a
individual
picture of the whole
pictures in
bike to
there
show me
of
damage.
everything that was damaged
have
up
no
close
idea
that you
what
could
that is.
see way more clearly.
No, that doesn't help me at all. There is a picture here of the Kawasaki bike that looks
I also
just
have
fine.
individual
you didn't know what you
pictures
were
in
showing
there
me.
of
You were
everything
showing me
that
a lot
was
of junk,
damaged
but the
up
bike
close
is
that you
there,
could
it's
see
intact.
way more Yeah, I clearly. mean, it wasn't like
The bike is there,
wasn't
it's
intact.
intact.
It was intact.
There
Yeah,
is
sure.
a picture
Yeah,
here
you're
of
showing
the
me
tires
Kawasaki
and broken
bike.
pieces. I don't know what you're
There was
showing.
a
It
lot
looks just
broken on it,
fine.
though.
You didn't know
And I
what you
feel
were
like I
showing me.
should at least
You're
get
showing me a lot
reimbursed
of
for
junk,
that
but the
because
bike
I
is
feel
there,
like
it's intact.
it would be the right thing to do,
The
honestly.
bike is there,
I
it's
don't care what
intact.
you
feel. intact.
You can't go and
Yeah,
take
you're
his
showing me
bike. He's 2
tires and
days
broken
late,
pieces.
and he's already given
I don't
you
know what you're
two-thirds
showing
of
me.
the
a lot
purchase
broken on it,
price.
though.
Judgment
And
for
I
the
feel like I
plaintiff
should
in the
at
amount
least
of
get reimbursed for
$2,000. We're
that
finished.
because I
Thank you
feel
very
like
much.
it would be the right thing to do, honestly.
I don't care what you feel. You can't go and take his bike if
I
he's
feel
2
pretty
days late,
disappointed.
and he's
I feel
already
like I
given
should
you
have been
2/3 of the
reimbursed for the
purchase price.
damages on the
Judgment for
motorcycle.
the
I did
plaintiff in the
legally
amount of
repossess it.
$2,000.
I'm happy
We're
with what
finished.
happened
Thank you
today.
very
I'm so
much.
glad I was able
Court
to
is
get my
adjourned.
money back because, I mean, I really needed the vehicle at the time, and I felt like it was all thrown away. So
I feel
fast.
pretty
There were
disappointed.
scratches
I
all
feel like I
over
should have been
it. The
reimbursed
handlebars
for the
were bent,
damages
the
on the
tires,
motorcycle. I
needed
did
new
legally
tires, and the headers
repossess
were
it.
bent. I'm
Just
happy
a
with
bunch
what
of little
happened
things
today.
were
I'm
messed
so
up
glad I
with
was
it.
able to
I
get
didn't
my
wreck
money
the
back.
motorcycle. No, there was no
I mean, I
damage.
really needed the
When I
vehicle
was
at
on
the
my
time,
work,
and I
it
felt
was
like
perfectly
all
fine
thrown
underneath
away
that
so
cover.
fast.
Probably
There
not
were
riding together.
scratches
We're
all
talking
over
anymore.
it.
Handlebars
Frustrated
were
with
bent. the tires needed new tires, and the headers were bent. Just a bunch of little things were messed up with it.
I did want to motorcycle. No, there was no damage. When I was on my work, it was perfectly fine underneath that cover.
Probably not riding together or talking anymore.
Our friendship was ruined whenever you stole the bike back. I mean, after I bought the bike,
into it a lot this season.
And I mean, if there was damages, I would have wanted the bike back in full. I wouldn't want to pay for it still.
And there had to be, sadly, the only thing I'm taking reasonable, I took away from this case was the GoFundMe page. Thoughtful.
We've run into it a lot this
starting
season
a GoFundMe
with the
page. Just the people who are really in distress, maybe, and that's the only avenue to get some money to help reasonable, but it's with anything that's good. People will always find a way to scam it. And starting a GoFundMe page. You know what it does, Sarah? You know, people who are really in distress, maybe, and that's the only avenue to get some money to help. Goodwill, but it's with anything that's all of this stuff. People will send them $50 a way to scam it. I'll send them $10.
But knowing that there's no guarantee of what that money is going to be used for.
Yeah, but they want to do it of a generous nature. I can't believe poor kitty lost all of this stuff. I'll send them $50. I'll send them not rich people $10.
But knowing that there's no guarantee of what that money is going to be used for. No, but they really think they're giving to a good cause, something
that's necessary.
The description and the GoFundMe pulls at their heartstrings or something. And then you find out he went and bought a motorcycle instead.
Or went on a vacation to the Bahamas.
They really think they're giving to a good cause, something
really that's necessary.
The description and the GoFundMe pulls at their heartstrings or something. And then you find out he went and bought a motorcycle instead.
Or went on a vacation to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Or didn't really have cancer.
Sure.
Or it's
a slippery slope.
Just such a shame that there are so many evil people who will take advantage of a good thing. You witnessed your father physically abusing your mother.
Yes. Never. My dad pushed my mother to the floor. In addition, had also thrown objects at my mom before. He did, threaten her. She attacked me.
Were you ever served with a protective order? That's either a yes or a no.
This is Judy Justice. Hector Diaz is suing his niece-in-law, Blanca Padilla, for the value of a GoFundMe fundraiser and defamation.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Judge, case 3162, Diaz versus Padilla.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Diaz, I assume that this is your soon-to-be ex-wife.
Yes.
That lady sitting over there. And who was the young man with her?
Our son.
And this is the niece of your soon-to-be ex-wife.
Yes.
And your complaint is you're in the process of going through a divorce. It's not as easy as one would hope, and that your wife's niece decided to do a GoFundMe page for her aunt to help her pay for lawyers' fees and living expenses because you were not a nice person. And that she said things in the GoFundMe page that were defamatory. And you want her to pay for that.
Yes.
That's what the case is about. So let me get some preliminary information from you, Mr. Diaz. When were you and your wife married? What year?
November 28 of 1998.
And when did you separate?
1/25 of 2022.
You have children?
Yes.
How many? 2?
Yeah.
You had to think about that.
Yeah, 2. But what I'm thinking about is the time we separated. I think it was 2023, sorry.
You left the house?
Yes, I went to Hubbard House.
Okay. Now I'd like to see the GoFundMe page that Ms. Padilla created. And Ms. Padilla, you do not deny that you created the GoFundMe page?
I do not deny. I did create it.
Just a second. You did create it and you wrote it?
Yes.
And people donated money based on what you wrote?
Correct.
How much?
As of today, the total is $7,158.
Okay. And Ms. Padilla, I assume that you gave the plaintiff's wife that money.
Correct.
Just a second. Mm-hmm. Is that correct, or is there a caveat in there?
There is a caveat.
Let's have the caveat.
All the expenses were paid towards her mortgage and utilities directly or through a third party.
What third party?
Teresa Seamus.
Who is that?
She's a friend of the family.
Okay, so money was given to her to pay the bills directly?
Correct.
Okay, I'm going to read it out loud. It is with humble hearts that we reach out to you today for help in a situation involving our beloved Aunt Blanca. For 24 years, she has suffered in silence about her abusive marriage. During those years, she has endured psychological, emotional, spiritual, and physical abuse. She was belittled, insulted, manipulated, threatened, assaulted, controlled, and kept in the dark about all family finances. After several terrifying events, Blanca found the strength to finally speak up and seek help. She went to court and was awarded a restraining order against him and was able to return to her home. Her husband has become even more dangerous as has completely abandoned his responsibilities as a father and a husband. He has emptied all of their life savings, retirement accounts, bank accounts, and has maxed out most of their credit cards. He has fraudulently opened accounts in her name, as well as the kids, to ruin their credit and ability to obtain funds. Not only has he left them without any money and ruined them financially, but he has also gone as far as repossessed her car, shut off all of her utilities in the house, and closed most credit cards she had access to for food. He has threatened to stop paying the mortgage and leave them homeless. He continues to go on luxury shopping sprees, buying cars, a motorcycle, lavish vacations. Blanca has serious health issues, relies on medication and ongoing medical care. Her daughter suffers from life-threatening asthma, needs her medication as well. Her husband has violated his restraining order on several times without consequences. Both Blanca and her daughters are in constant fear for their lives. He has gone as far as saying she needs mental help and claims she's erratic and is a danger to her daughter. Everyone close to her in this situation knows this is far from the truth. Blanca and her daughter need protection and legal help to proceed with a divorce to keep him away. We ask for your financial help, and I write with great appreciation. Thank you all. And then on March 18th, you wrote again, I would like to inform everyone that I am being sued for the funds that were raised. I am being accused of defamation of character and a fraudulent GoFundMe page. The same person who continues to remain nameless, well, that's not true, would like to receive the funds that were raised for his family. The hearing will be held next week. What makes you think the same person who continues to remain nameless, what does that mean?
I didn't mention his name in the GoFundMe.
That's not a possible defense. You have to understand that. That is not a possible defense, that because you didn't put in his name, that he cannot be identified. You do understand that?
I do understand.
Okay. All right, so let's go back. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
Hector Diaz claims his niece-in-law, Blanca Padilla, defamed him online by creating a GoFundMe fundraiser with false information.
Now, I want you to show me proof that he has opened up accounts in her name and the children's names. I want you to show me that he has opened accounts after they separated, which was January 25th, 2023, in her name and the children's names. I want you to do it.
I don't have that evidence. I don't have evidence.
Then you're guilty, madam. Just a second. Then you're guilty. Do you understand? I'm going to pick out things here and ask you that do you have proof that he opened up accounts in your name or your name?
Not after January.
After January 25th, 2023.
Not after January 25th.
Then you're guilty. Because if accounts were open while they were together and while they're married, I'm not taking statements as to whether he had their consent. People do things when they're in a married situation. So do you have an account that he opened after January 25th, 2023? If the answer is yes, you can stand.
He had it still open and active after that, but he did not open it after 2023.
Then I'm not interested. What happened in your family prior to the separation of your family is within your family, and I'm not getting into your finances within your family. Right now, she says he has fraudulently opened accounts in her name as well as their kids to obtain credit funds. Wrong, guilty. See what happens when you butt into somebody else's business that you're supposed to stay out of?
But Your Honor.
Don't speak.
Yes, Your Honor.
This has nothing to do with you. This has to do with you.
That's
what
correct.
you can prove to me I'm not finished with this stick. Just a second. I'm going through line by line.
Okay.
I would like you to show me, or if you have them from the plaintiff's wife, any medical records describing physical abuse that she alleges happened at the hand of her husband. Do you have any?
I don't have medical records.
Doctor's reports?
No, I don't have medical records.
Okay, here we go. Do you have any proof that the plaintiff violated a restraining order that is in place against him?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
So I have the arrest.
No, I just want to see. There's a protective order.
There's an injunction, yes.
There's a protective order.
And these are the police reports, the arrest warrant.
Okay, I'd like to see it.
Okay. And I have the injunction as well.
Okay, so you appeared before a judge in December of 2023?
Yes.
Were you ever served with a protective order?
That's
either a yes or a no?
Yes.
Okay. Did you go to court on that protective order?
No.
Did you have a hearing with regard to that protective order?
No.
Is there a final order of protection?
Yes, but without me appearing to the hearing.
So you just defaulted and didn't appear. Is that what you're saying to me?
I had to dismiss her injunction because she attacked me. And she had her first injunction, and I was in the house the first time. I dismissed all her charges, and she retaliated by opening up a false injunction against me, which I thought I didn't have to go to court because mines were set. I didn't have to appear in court I dismissed her injunction. I did not know that she had opened one against me.
When had you filed one protective order?
On the 25th, when it happened, the attacks, on the 20th and 25th, the police was called. They analyzed the whole situation, and they ended up arresting her.
How long were you incarcerated?
2 days. May I speak?
Not yet.
Okay.
So you understand that there is a protective order against you that was issued on default?
On default because she admitted things that weren't true.
It was issued on default because you weren't there.
Because I wasn't there, yeah.
You understand that?
I understand that, yeah. And I'm wearing an ankle bracelet right now for that. It took me a lot to get here.
It took what?
For 8 months, I've been wearing an ankle bracelet because of that injunction that I violated, supposedly.
That part, then, is true. Mm-hmm. Her husband has violated his restraining order on several occasions without consequences, with the exception of an ankle bracelet, which is a consequence. Mm-hmm. So you're home free on that. Okay. Now you wanted to say something?
Yes. I want to say that on January 26th, I went to the Hubbard House, which is a domestic shelter.
I want to hear what happened before that. Was that before or after your arrest?
This was before. And so on January 26th, I went to the court and applied for a temporary injunction, which is an order of protection. He was served on February 1st. In retaliation, he went to the police and he had me arrested February 2nd under false charges.
What did he allege in the action that he filed against you, that they arrested you? You had to have known.
There were scratches, which he alleges, and I have photos of the scratches. He says that she, yes.
And he alleged that she scratched you.
Yes.
Okay, have a seat. Okay. So the GoFundMe page has two problems. One is physical abuse, of which you have no proof other than her statement.
And Brandon's.
And have you ever been arrested for physically abusing your wife?
Never.
So you're basing the physical abuse on statements that your aunt made to you.
Brandon.
And as well
Brandon
as me,
was
Your
the
Honor,
person that
because
told
I
me.
grew up-
This is not a shout out.
I apologize, Your Honor.
Hector Diaz has accused his niece-in-law, Blanca Padilla, of defaming him online after she created a GoFundMe fundraiser with false information.
You're basing this statement on statements that the plaintiff's son told you.
Correct.
About. Stand. You're Brandon.
Yes, that's me.
Okay.
Thank you.
And you've indicated that you witnessed your father physically abusing your mother.
Yes.
Have you ever witnessed your mother physically abusing your father?
No, I have not.
Okay. Tell me when the act or acts of physical abuse took place and what you observed. Date, year, month.
Around 2019 or 2018, 2019, my parents, who continuously had very intense and abrasive fights that were very detrimental to me and my sister. One day it got really intense, and my dad pushed my mother to the floor. And I know that my father, in addition, had also thrown objects at my mom before I had seen. They didn't hit her, but he did threaten her. I have, very vivid images of that. And
very good. You can sit down. No. No. Okay. There are probably some things in your GoFundMe page that are accurate. I probably would believe that during the course of this acrimonious separation, and they've clearly had fights, which according to your witness, were intense between both of them. Now, he didn't say just his father. He said they were intense fights. That being said, I believe that he emptied the bank accounts. I believe that he cut off our credit cards. That's what people do when they get separated and it's acrimonious. That's what happens. And you can put that in here because that's true. You can't put in things that aren't true. And you put in things here that aren't true, and that's defamatory. You can't do that. In any event, you should have kept your nose out of other people's business.
I wasn't going to let her drown. When he left her and he tried to destroy her.
Just a second.
I did
Listen to me. Are you trying to talk over me? You can help. You cannot say things on a public forum disparaging someone else with stuff that you can't prove. And you can't prove that he fraudulently, after the separation, opened up bank accounts in her name and the children's name in an attempt to ruin their credit. You can't prove that. Mm-hmm. This is defamatory. You're accusing him of fraud, and you can't prove it. Okay, so that was not true, Mr. Diaz, what she wrote about you, or that she has no proof of it, that you opened up credit cards. The rest of it, fair game in this GoFundMe page. She can say that you were overbearing. She can say that her aunt was afraid of you. She can say that you stopped paying the mortgage. She can say that you closed out her credit cards. Did you do all those things, by the way?
No.
Did you stop paying the mortgage?
No.
I have proof.
Just a second.
No, ma'am. I've been living away from my home for now up to a year.
Yes.
I put the house on a forbearance. I've been paying $1,700 for rent to live outside since May.
I want you to listen to my question very carefully, and let's not be slippery.
Okay.
I asked you if you stopped paying the mortgage.
No.
You've been paying the mortgage every month. She's going to show me. I don't want to know that you've been paying someplace else to live and you stopped paying. That's a reason. I'm just asking you a question. I expect an answer.
Okay, so
did you pay the mortgage?
I paid up until I left the house. When I left the house...
Well, that was in January of 2023.
I had to call in. I said I was no longer employed, and I had to put the house on forbearance.
Okay, fine. So the answer is you stopped paying the mortgage. Okay. The only thing that she wrote here that she has no proof of, which is a crime, is opening up credit cards in somebody else's name. And when you do that, and it's after parties have separated, and if you do it for the purposes of ruining their prospective credit, well, that's a crime. And she has no proof of that.
Never done that.
Okay.
I try to resolve this GoFundMe page amicably with her. These are her responses.
I don't care what her responses were, sir. Actually, she's not allowed to say anything that's untrue, accusing you of committing a crime on her GoFundMe page. Judging for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. We're finished.
This court is adjourned.
Next time, I'm going to suggest to everybody else they stay out of other people's business.
Esther, yeah, she's very inflammatory in her emails, in her fake postings.
I was going to allow my family to be ruined financially and legally. I was going to stand up and do the right thing for them. I don't think what I did was incorrect. And just because I didn't have the evidence with me today doesn't mean he didn't do that.
It got messy because she claims her allegations that I went and wrote her emails, wrote her text messages after there was a no contact order. So she used all that evidence to keep me away from my children.
Just because you're married doesn't mean you can't do a police report. Just because you're married doesn't mean this is right and defend yourself.
You know, we're still the same entity because we're still married, but once, you know, we're divorced, then it'll be, you know, it'll be more better relationships.
That's it. I'll always defend my family.
I believe a lot of the things that are in that GoFundMe post probably accurate. He did, in fact, stop paying the mortgage for whatever reason. There's indication that he, at least in some of the notes, that he was, in fact, incarcerated for something. He's wearing an ankle bracelet, which is probably a pretty serious incident because most of this stuff is about stalking. Yeah. But when you post something for public consumption, and if something is not accurate, and if it's a crime or call somebody's reputation into serious dispute, although I don't know much about his reputation, you can't do that. You know, and it is possible that during the course of their marriage, several bank accounts were open, several credit cards were open, and let's say they maxed out all those credit cards, and she was one of the holders of those credit cards. You maxed out the credit cards, and if the time is afterwards and he's committed a fraud, now he's separated and he's divorcing. So he knows whatever he does now is not for the benefit of the family. That's what she claimed, and that's not true. And you can't do that. So my best advice is stay out of other people's divorces.
He's suing his former clients, Mary and Michael Rhodes, for unpaid demolition work.